الحمد لله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وجعل الظلمات والنور ثم الذين كفروا بربهم يعدلون. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق. Samaj, join us. So we have a guest today again, and I think everybody remembers Samaj, who were here before in the summer. It was the summertime, was it? Yeah. Samaj, you can bring a chair up, or you can come sit up here. Yeah. So Samaj came when I was setting up selling goods here, and he had questions about Islam, and he would come, time and time. So I haven't seen him in some months. He's back. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. During that time, there was some, and this is for anybody who may be tested with dawah. So during that time, Samaj, he has some important, pertinent questions about Islam and becoming a Muslim. And he was very truthful. When I mentioned some things, he asked me some things. He said, "What about this? Is this permissible if I'm a Muslim? Can I do this?" And I said, "No." He said, "Okay, I'm not ready yet." So I haven't seen him. So then Samaj came back, and alhamdulillah, he's ready to take Shahada within himself, but he's not ready to take Shahada with the information that he has. And this is very important because from the first, who knows the conditions of La ilaha illallah? Conditions. See, La ilaha illallah, mashallah. Mm-hmm. The first condition, who knows the first condition? See, La ilaha illallah is a contract between our Lord and us. That every contract has conditions. Allah is not like the Christians describe him. God is love. No. Allah is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بديع السماوات والأرض العدل. Allah Ta'ala is justice. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does things justly. وكل شيء بين فضله وعدله. Everything is between his virtue, or his bounty and his justice. So this shahada, it's not unconditional. It's not unconditional. So there are conditions that have to be met. When somebody comes and wants to embrace Islam, like Samaj, we have to do justice toward him and give him shahada based on his correct understanding. So I remember we sat and he had some information before, and then he's been doing a lot of research. And in his research, he came across the more science simple Nation of Islam and all of that. So some of that stuff entered upon his understanding of Islam. So when he said he's ready, I didn't rush, and I'm not rushing him. Why? Because we want Samaj to enter into the Islam that Allah Ta'ala said, Al-Yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum. Allah has to accept the shahada. It's not up to us. Allah has to accept the shahada. So I almost, based off our previous conversation, said, okay, repeat after me. Then I said, no, I'm going to ask him because he's been away for a while. So I asked Samaj. I said, okay, so what do you believe about Allah now? So Samaj said, it's okay I speak about our conversation? Okay. Okay, so I said, so he mentioned the statement, arm, leg, arm, head. This is the 5%ers. This is an offshoot of the Nation of Islam. And what they believe is the same thing as Zen Buddhism. What they believe is that, and it's the same thing as Hululiyah. They believe that there's no true life except the life of Allah. So everything that's living is Allah, and Allah is everything that is living. The 5%ers are a branch off the Nation of Islam who made the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the transliteration of Allah's name, not Allah's name. They made the transliteration. Who knows what transliteration is? Transliteration is when you take the letters of one language and write them in a way to pronounce a word from a totally different language. So it's like you're kind of trying to a cheat code to speak another language without actually learning that language, right? So, for instance, ALLAH, that's not Allah's name. That's a transliteration, trying to show English speakers how to say Allah's name by using their own alphabet. It's called transliteration. Translation would be to take the word and just put it in a totally different another language. But we know that from for those who don't know, that when it comes to translation from language to language, names aren't translated. Names aren't translated. They're transliterated, but they're not translated. Right. So the 5%ers, these people have an aqidah that remember how they say it. They say 85% of the world is deaf, dumb, and blind, and 10%, and then the world is conquered by 10% of the population who are wicked demons, and then 5% that are left, right? 85, it's 95, yeah. 5% are the poor righteous teachers talking about themselves. So in that, they took Arabic words, and we know that the Arabic language has been around centuries before the English language. So they took Arabic words like Allah's name, Subhana, and they took the transliteration, ALLAH, and they said that Allah means the A is for arm, the L is for leg, the other L is for leg, the A is for arm, and the H is for head. So say Allah means arm, leg, arm, head, meaning you are Allah. Right? So this entered. So I didn't rush. And I asked him, he been explaining some things. So alhamdulillah, he has the book, Learning the Pillars of Islam and Iman, one pillar at a time, and he's reading that. And I've placed that as a condition. So we want people to hurry and take the shahada, not a shahada, the shahada that the Prophet ﷺ gave to Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali and Khadija and everybody else. That shahada, not something that we are rushing people into and like that. So inshallah, the first condition of the shahada is al-ilm or ilm al-munafi lil-jahl. So it means that he has to have knowledge that negates ignorance. That the knowledge, his knowledge of la ilaha illallah, has to be like the knowledge of the Quraysh. That the Quraysh, the kuffar, the mushrikun, I'm not talking about those who accept Islam, they were so knowledgeable about the shahada that they rejected it because they knew exactly what it meant. It meant that we cannot have our idols anymore. You're going to shut down our celebrations. You're going to shut down our drinking parties. You're going to shut down. No, we're not taking that shahada. They refused that shahada. They knew what they were refusing. Right? So we have to, call Samaj to Islam and give him enough information where he knows exactly what's accepted and he's accepting, and he knows that it's not the Nation of Islam. He knows that it's not Ahmadiyya. He knows that it's not the Moore Science Temple. He knows that it's not the Rafidah. He knows that it's not the Jahmiyyah. He knows that it's not anything except for that which was sent down to the Prophet ﷺ, Al-Yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum. So this is the same thing, these 5%ers, what else they said? He said Islam. They also turned Islam into an acronym, the transliteration of Islam. They said Islam, ISLAM. Islam means I, self, Lord, and Master. I remember I debated these guys when Allah first guided me to Islam. And I said to them, I said, so if you study etymology, then you know that languages have history. And languages appeared, some are older than others and appear before others. Some are their families. You have the Semitic family, the Hamitic family, and like that. So if you look at it, like Syrianiya is the mother of the Semitic languages and many language historians. So you have Syrianiya. And some of Ahl al-Ilm say that was the language of Adam, alayhi salam, Syrianiya. And from Syrianiya came Al-Arabiya, wal-Ibriya, wal-Farisiya, Arabic and Hebrew and Persian and all of that. And if you look at them, their letters are alike and the words pronounced alike. Like, for instance, with Arabic and Hebrew, we say Allahu Ahad. They say Dunai Ahad. It's very close. It's very close languages. Even with languages like Spanish and Italian and French and English, like or that sounds all like and so forth and so on. So these languages are families. So they're developed. If you look at populations or civilizations, you're going to see what language was spoken, and then you find out that English. The reason that makes it one of the most difficult languages in the world is because it's not an original language. It's a language that's part of this. Oh, that why you say that like that? Because that's originally a French word. Oh, that's originally a this word. It's not a language. It's not an original language. So they took uh Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. They took Arabic word transliterations and turned them into acronyms for their false aqidah. If you ask them, okay, how do you know the distance between through the study of etymology, the difference between when the Arabic language was around and the English language was around? So the word Allah, the Prophet ﷺ was not the only Arab prophet. The Prophet ﷺ was not the only what? Arab prophet. So now, okay, Allah was used. Lord of the word Allah. The name Allah was used. Islam was used before the coming of the Prophet ﷺ, right? So I asked them, so because Arabic existed before English, and the word Allah in Islam existed before those words that you made into an acronym, arm, leg, I, self, Lord. Those words weren't around, but the word Allah was around and Islam was around. Hud was an Arab prophet. Shu'aib was an Arab prophet. Salih was an Arab prophet. They were Arab. So they were using these words with their people. So now you have these words that came later on, the English language. So I asked them, so what did Allah and Islam mean before English came? Because it couldn't have meant I, self, Lord, and master, arm, leg, because those were, and they were just like, well, you know, so it's like, and I tell this to brothers a lot. If you look at the people of misguidance, the refutation of their belief is in their belief. You can what they say is a proof against them. It's not a proof for them. Like that same example of what that. So I just wanted to. We're probably not going to get into Tafseer. I really want to spend this time. I want Brother Samaj to feel welcome, and and want him to know that we are very, very concerned about his well-being in the next life, and tell him some more things about Islam. So, hold on, somebody's writing something. Nah, exactly. So, Samaj, action. What does the word submit mean to you? No, just the word submit. Like when you hear that word, what do you think about? What comes to mind?
I just had the word that slipped my mind. Submit to be in it.
Again?
To be in it.
To be in it. Okay.
Fully in something.
Fully in something. Anybody else? Submit. What comes to your mind?
Like, yeah.
Obey.
Give up.
Give up. Merge. I like what Sheikh Jamil said, to give up. Anybody watch or practice MMA or anything like that? Nobody? Yeah. So when they do a submission move in MMA, got him in the arm bar, surrender. And the one who's surrendering, what is his state? When you look at somebody who's submitting after he's been put in a lock or arm bar like that, what is his state? Like, what do you see in his face and in his behavior?
Yeah.
No, he submitted. He ain't fighting for it. He's not fighting no more. He was fighting before he submitted. But once he submit, he's giving up. He's giving up. You see the face of the one submits. He's like overwhelmed with fear. He's overwhelmed with self-concern. He's in fear for himself. He's concerned about himself, or it's that limb that is being twisted. He's concerned and he's in fear. And he's given up and he's acknowledged openly. No man, he doesn't care. You see the arena, you see everybody around the arena. He openly acknowledges that he has met a force that's beyond his ability to withstand. And that's with creation. This force, just the pressure on my elbow, I feel like right at this state, I've met a force. The rest of my body, this pressure on my elbow alone has paralyzed the rest of my body to even help myself. I can't even help myself. That's submission. And that's between creation. So now when we say, Allah Ta'ala said, La ikrah fi din, he's not going to force a person to be Muslim. So Allah Ta'ala doesn't get the slave to submit by putting him under physical pressure that would harm him until he says, La ilaha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides the individual back to the nafs al-lawwama, the self-reproaching soul. Allah Ta'ala guides the person back to al-fitra, his natural disposition. And he knows that I cannot continue walking on the earth of Allah, breathing the oxygen that Allah Ta'ala created, under the sky that Allah Ta'ala placed as a firmament above me, eating from the vegetation and the animals that Allah created, drinking from this water, and I cannot go on like this and not submit. Everything that I see around me is clear evidence of a compelling al-qahar, compelling power that I cannot resist. So this feeling, when it hits the heart, the limbs, we gave the example between creation, that pressure on the elbow, it makes the whole body paralyzed. That pressure, that heart being convinced and understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Lord of the world makes the rest of the limbs comply to that submission. But that does not happen except with the first condition of La ilaha illallah, which is ilm munafi al-jahl, knowledge that negates ignorance. We cannot rush and say, repeat after me, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and we haven't told this person about Allah. We have to tell him about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that if he hears other than Tawheed, he's going to know that's not Tawheed. That's not Tawheed. That's not how you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without doubt, he can clearly express that. He can clearly express that because we don't know when we're going to pass. So if we do these rush shahadas, when we say rush, hasten to give someone shahada, we mean that. Hasten to give it to him in the proper way. Not hasten to give it to him any kind of way. Not hasten to give it to him in a way that we accepted it, but does Allah Ta'ala accept it? Allah has to accept samaj. I like him. We sit, talk for hours. We used to sit and talk for hours in the summer. We sat and talked for hours today. My eldest brother is my only sibling until today. He hasn't accepted. I love my eldest brother. He hasn't said La ilaha illallah. It's nothing I can do. Innaka la tahdi man ahbabta. You cannot guide those whom you love. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ. However, Allah guides whom He pleases. So it's not up to us. لَيْسَ عَلَيْكَ هُدَاهُمْ. Allah said, their guidance is not on you. إِنَّمَا عَلَيْكَ الْبَلَاغُ وَعَلَيْنَا حِسَابٌ. Allah said, it is only upon you to deliver the message, and it is upon Allah Ta'ala to bring reckoning. So we make dua that Allah Ta'ala guides Samaj with knowledge, that he embraces Islam wholeheartedly. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Allah said this to the believers. So what about someone who hasn't accepted Islam yet? Udkhulu fi silmi kafa. Enter into Islam completely, wholeheartedly. So we want Samaj. We beg Allah to guide Samaj and that he enters into Islam wholeheartedly. That he enters into Islam and he knows that Allah Ta'ala said, Bala man aslama wajhahu lillahi wa huwa muhsin. Allah said, on the contrary, the one who submits his whole self to Allah and is a doer of good. It is a doer of good. I spoke in the khutbah last week about what? About a young man, Muslim. And I think I didn't mention the whole issue. But this young man was raised in Islam. But because he didn't follow, lived right next to the masjid, but was gunned down. 19 years old, gunned down. And I don't know what kind of artillery they had, but the car blew up, put on fire, blew up. Come to find out now, I'm calling and helping the brothers down there, the Imam, the brother Abad, dealing with the issue that the Muslims, the young Muslims, watch these kids They're Crips or Bloods, they're one of them. So they're Muslim gang members. And Shahada has become an initiation now. Shahada has become an initiation to join the gang. You're a Crip, but you're not a real Crip unless you're a Muslim Crip. This is what's going on now. This is what's going on now. So it's very, very important that in order for the person to come into Islam and be upright, like the Sahabi asked the Prophet ﷺ, "Kulli shay'an la as'alu anhu ghayra." He said, "Tell me something to do that I don't need to ask anybody else other than you." He said, "Qul amantu billah thumma istaqim." He said, "Say I believe in Allah and then be upright." Say I believe in Allah and then be upright. Upright. So we want Allah Ta'ala to guide Samaj to Islam, and that he's going to say, "Amantu billah thumma yastaqim." And then after that, he's going to be upon istiqamah. We don't want to keep giving dawah, and then what do we get? We get people who say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, he's a drug dealer. La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, he's a drug addict. La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, he's a burglar. La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, he's an armed robber. La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, he's a pimp. What's going on? What's going on? So we want the person to say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, thumma yastaqim ala dinillahi subhanahu. And he's upright. He's going to be upright. He's going to be an asset to the Muslims just by the fact that he's not into corruption, into crime, into deviation, into perversion, and other than that. No, he's an example for our children. We don't want to give someone shahada and they come into the community and like that, and then we have to tell the children, don't y'all go outside. Actually, no, you can't do this, and then there's some kind of craziness going on. No. We don't want to have to keep explaining other people's actions that say La ilaha illallah to the children. Now those criminals are circling the masjid down in North Carolina, looking to harm the family members of the young brother that they killed. And the Muslims don't know should they arm themselves and continue praying in the masjid and have people out there armed, and they've gotten in touch with the police, and it's crazy. It's crazy. So the first condition of La ilaha illallah is al-ilm. So this is why I'm patiently waiting for young Samaj to read the meaning of Islam, what Islam means, what submission means. Yes.
I'm still reading.
Yeah. So he started reading, and I don't want to rush him. I want Samaj to be sure. I want Samaj to be sure, because after knowledge, the next condition of La ilaha illallah is what? Al-ikhlas. Has to be sincere. Never talk to Samaj that, if you become Muslim, we're going to be all together and we're going to make money and we're going to do this and that. That's not the dawah. It's not the dawah. I didn't tell him, some beautiful sisters and on the sister side, and you become Muslim, you're going to. It's not it. People giving dawah to people have to be careful about saying that kind of stuff, because the heart is weak and intentions can change. So it's very, very important that we give da'wah to Samaj, and that we beg Allah, make dua for him, because he's come over and over again. He could be anywhere right now, but Allah Ta'ala keeps guiding him. He's coming to the masjid. So inshallah Ta'ala, guidance is written for him. And Allah Ta'ala could guide him with or without us. Allah knows best, about his condition. So sincerity. So the next condition, Samaj, is sincerity, meaning that there can be no ulterior motives. There can be no worldly gain behind why you say La ilaha illallah. The only reason you can come into Islam is that you realize that Allah is your Lord, and He is the only one that deserves to be worshipped. And the only thing you're going to get out of Islam that's guaranteed, that if you worship Allah without associating partners with Him and follow the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that you will not go to the hellfire forever. And you may not go at all, but based on sins, we believe that in Islam that Muslims will be placed in the hellfire temporarily. If they die committing their sins and didn't ask Allah to forgive them, and Allah didn't forgive them out of His bounty, then they will be purified, because whoever enters into heaven must be purified. So purification is going to happen two ways: either by punishment in this life, punishment in the hereafter, or Allah Ta'ala exonerating or absolving the person of the responsibility of their sin out of His mercy and bounty, and then letting him go to Jannah anyway. So we have al-ilm wal-ikhlas. So you have knowledge and sincerity. After that, the next condition, this is a condition, like when you sign a contract, they say, you sign a lease, they say no pets, no smoking, no more than two people, like that. This is a agreement. When you come into Islam, you're going to be making an agreement with your heart and your tongue that, oh Allah, I realize and I acknowledge and I know sincerely that you are my Lord, and nothing has to be right to be worshipped with you. And you're not a statue, and you're not a rock, and you're not the sun, and you're not the moon, and you're not the stars, and you're not an angel, you're not Jesus, you're not Moses, you're not Muhammad, you're not any of these things. Alayhim salatu wasalam. You're not anything. And whatever I imagine in my mind, you are different from that. Laysa kamithlihi shay. There's nothing like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what has to be in your heart and mind when and on your tongue when, and the meaning when you're saying La ilaha illallah. So, and knowledge and sincerity. And then after that, you have to be upon, and this goes right back to knowledge. Al-yaqeen, certainty. You have to have certainty. This is it. You can't have any doubt. Allah said in في مطلع سورة البقرة ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. This is the book. That is the book. It has no doubt in it. There's no doubt in the Quran. There's no doubt in the verses of the Quran, and there's no doubt that the Quran was sent down by Allah, and there's no doubt that the Quran is the last revelation, and there's no doubt that the Quran is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no doubt that the Quran was sent down upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and there's no doubt that the Quran is preserved and cannot be changed, and there's no doubt that the Quran is the last book that all of mankind must follow if they want to go to Jannah until the day of judgment. If they want to go to heaven until the day of judgment. No doubt. So, certainty. There's no doubt that that man, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, is the last prophet and messenger sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Samaj, he asked some tough questions. So one of the questions he asked today, he said, so tell me, once I become Muslim, if I take Shahada, what about, listening to, still listening to some different religions when they preach, and listening to Christian preachers and listening to other people that preach, other religions. Is that okay? That's very poignant questions. You know how many Muslims right now, they might come in here or other masajid and pray right next to you, and they're not Muslim. They're Muslim in their behavior and everything but they're not Muslim, because they have a belief that takes them outside of Islam, and they're praying and they're fasting and they're making Hajj, and they're Muslim. Farrakhan to what? 2020. Farrakhan went to Mecca. He made Hajj. Farrakhan. Kafir. And Hajj. The Ahmadiyya. They make Hajj. The Rafida. Make Hajj. They make Hajj after they put Ali's name in the Shahada. And they still make Hajj. They're not Muslim. The Ahmadiyya said, Mizra Ahmad came, a messenger after the messenger of Allah. They're kuffar. They make Hajj. Make Hajj. So he said, can I still listen to other preachers from other religions? I said, no, you cannot. And I gave the example. And, just happened to be in Michigan, right, in Flint. I said, okay, so if you were blessed to live out in the county where the water is not polluted, right? And you know about the city, you know about the water in the city. Would you come from the county and drink from the water in the city? Once you know you have a unpolluted source, why would you come drink from a polluted source? It's the same thing. Once you know you have Islam, you have the Quran, you have the Sunnah, no pollution, no deviation in it, no corruption in it, cannot be changed. Why go back and listen and give your ear and your heart to those sources? So that was the answer I gave to Samaj when he asked that question. So it's knowledge, sincerity, and certainty. And then it's qabul, acceptance. Because a person can have knowledge about a thing and believe it's the truth, but still not accept it. Still not accept it. And the evidence that a person has accepted something is that they embrace it and act according to it. Act according to it. Allah Ta'ala said about Fir'aun and his people what? وَجَحَدُوا بِهَا وَاسْتَيْقَنَتْهَا أَنفُسُهُم. Allah Ta'ala said they fought against it. They fought against it while their souls were certain. SubhanAllah. Istiqan. They had certainty that no, this is Musa is not lying. This is real. This is the truth. This is from Allah. Still not going to follow. Still not going to follow. Allah Ta'ala said about the Yahud, the Jews, الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُم. Those who we gave the book, the Jews, they know. يعرفونه, some of the scholars say يعرفونه, meaning they know that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, based on his descriptions that were mentioned in the Torah, that he is that Muhammad, that prophet that was promised to come, that was unlike that was like Musa alayhi salam. They knew he was coming, and they said, Allah said, يعرفونه كما يعرفون أبناءهم, that they know he's the truth. Al-Quran, they know that the Quran is the book that came after those revelations. They know that it is the truth. And this is called اختلاف تنوع وليس اختلاف تضاد. اختلاف تنوع is a difference in perspective and is not an opposing position. So it's no problem with both of those opinions being totally correct, because one being correct does not discount the other one. So they know that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the truth, and they know that the Quran is the truth. What's the truth? And they know the Quran is the truth. Like they know their own sons. Like a man would look and say, "Yeah, this is." If a man was in a crowd and other men was in the same crowd, and their sons were with them, that man would not doubt which one is his son. When he's placed in front of him, say, "Yeah, this is my boy." No, that's not my son. He would know it. And then one of the Sahaba said, "Ya Rasulullah." No, rather they know that this is the truth better than they know their own sons. Because a man could have a child attributed to him that's not his. SubhanAllah. SubhanAllah. Look at that. So they know this is the truth. But knowing it takes sincerity. And it takes acceptance. Acceptance. So these are some of the things that I want. And he has the book. And I'm not going to go through all of the conditions of La ilaha illallah with him today, because he has the book, he's reading through it. And it's very important, Samaj, that, any questions, please, any question that you have about anything that you read, raise it. Any questions you have about anything that you heard before speaking to me, anybody else that you've spoken to, anything that you read from the Quran, anything that you read from Hadith, question it. Ask everything that you can, so that when you enter, you can be like a firm mountain, like unshakable, unbreakable. You can be strong. You don't want to come in weak. You want to come in strong, because Islam, especially today, you're not coming toward a popular opinion when you come toward Islam. This is not. You're not coming toward a popular opinion. This is not what the society wants for you. And it's not what the devil wants for you. So know for a fact that once you say you believe, Allah said in the Quran, does mankind think that they will be left alone saying that we believe and that they will not be tested? So you're going to be tested. You're going to be tested. I've had to counsel some Muslims that when they went through trials and tests, they said, I'm leaving Islam. I'm done. My life is too hard. I'm leaving Islam. And my answer to two individuals that said that to me, you're right. You should leave. You should leave Islam. If you feel like that your life is difficult because you're Muslim, you should leave Islam. So they were shocked. Some people do things for attention. So they were shocked. You mean I should leave Islam? I said, no, if you feel like that being a Muslim has made life hard, then you're right. You should try something else. So they sat silent. They weren't serious. So I said, but on the condition that before you leave Islam, because of the trials you're going through, whatever religion you're thinking about going to, in order for that to be an actual choice to try to solve your problems, you're going through poverty, homelessness, disloyalty of a spouse, betrayal of a friend, a relative, money being stolen, whatever you're going through. In order for leaving Islam to be the solution for you, you're mad at Islam because you're going through this as a Muslim. In order for this to be a solution, you have to be able to prove that whatever religion you decide to go to, that nobody in that religion goes through hardship. There never can be a homeless a homeless Jew or Jewish woman that's been beaten by her husband, a Jewish man that's been betrayed by his family. It has never be. It has to be. If you're going to Christianity, it can never be a homeless or a poor Christian or a Christian woman that was beaten by her husband or somebody that was cheated on by so you have to find a religion that nobody goes through any trials and tribulations in that religion, and in order for that to be your final choice, and that doesn't exist. Because the trials and tribulations in this life is for everybody. It has nothing to do with the faith that you claim. Muslims go through trials and tribulations. Christians goes. Allah said, "Tilka al-ayyam nudawiluha bayna an-nas." Allah said, they are the days that we cause to switch from people to people. And if a calamity has stricken you, then a similar calamity has stricken or struck those that are not from your faith. Allah Ta'ala said, "In takunu ta'lamuna fa innahum ya'lamuna kama ta'lamun." Allah Ta'ala said, and if you are feeling pain, al-alam, if you're feeling pain, then your enemies are feeling pain just like you're feeling pain. وَتَرْجُونَ مِنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَرْجُونَ. But you have hope in Allah and they don't. You have hope in Allah and they don't. It's the difference. That's the difference. And by the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon me, I know how real those ayat are because I lived on both sides. On both sides. I've been through difficulty before being a Muslim. And I know what that ayat means. وَتَرْجُونَ مِنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَرْجُونَ. And after all the false deities end, I was an atheist, and after all my false ideologies ended, I needed something to hold on to, and it was nothing because I didn't have Iman. It was nothing for me to go to, and nobody had anything that's like, well, you just gotta, tough it out, but don't kill you, make you stronger. All these sayings they say. They couldn't say to me, Salli rakatain, read the Quran and read those ayat where Allah Ta'ala tested أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يأتكم مثل الذين خلوا من قبلكم مستهم المأساء والضراء وزلزلوا حتى يقول الرسول والذين they couldn't direct you to these ayat. Do you think you're going to enter into Jannah without trials coming to you like they came to those who came before you? They were smitten with trial and tribulation and shaken to the point that the messenger and those who believe with him said, when will the help of Allah? But Allah's help is always there. They couldn't direct me to anything. Philosophical saying. Most people end up, what do you think people end up addicted to drugs? Oh, you're stressed out. Go get therapy. You go to therapy, they're going to give you a prescription. They're going to write you a pill because they're connected with Big Pharma and all of that stuff. So they're going to write you a prescription and they're going to turn you into a legal addict. You're buying the same street drugs, but you just got a version that's certified by the doctor. You're going to become an addict. That's it. Nobody can direct me to praying rak'atain, make dhikr. Just sit and say subhanallah. Say la ilaha illa anta subhanak inni kuntu min adh-dhalimin. It could give me nothing. Nothing. Now, family members, they see some things that I went through, says what Muslims says. They say, wow, for those who don't have faith or they're Muslim, but they're weak in their understanding because they haven't sought and since they've been Muslim. So what happens? They say, I couldn't go through the stuff that you went through. Allah. وَتَرْجُونَ مِنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَرْجُونَ. They don't understand. Understand. What makes a person hold on in trial and tribulation? Hope. What is that hope? That this is not it. What was breaking when certain trials and tribulations happened in Jahiliyyah, happened to my family, myself, other people that I knew? What broke them? What broke them and turned them to drugs or turned them to crime or just made them fall into despair and just stop doing anything with their lives is that they didn't have hope. For this is it for them. So if they don't make it here, they really believe, they're convinced, I failed, my life is over. A person, we as Muslims, we say, well, a person can be nothing. here, nothing, never successful, always from state in the same sad state, poor, unknown, unloved, and like that person can go through that his whole life in this dunya. But and his neck is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. He's praying 5 salawat. He's fasting Ramadan. He's poor. He can't make Hajj, but he's doing everything in Islam that he has the ability to do. And next thing you know, he's in Jannah. Firdaus al-A'la. As the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ said, that Allah Ta'ala would take the poorest believer that had the most difficult life and place him into the Jannah and then ask him, do you remember having any difficulty, any harm? He said, no, he'll swear by Allah. He said, Wallahi, I never went through anything. He's going to forget everything. He said, no, I've never been through anything. Then the opposite is going to be asked to the wealthiest kafir that had the best, the most comfortable, the most relaxing, powerful, known, all of the good things he had in the dunya. And then he's going to be placed, dipped into the hellfire. Then he's going to be asked, did you ever have any good? He's going to say, well, I don't remember one good day. I never had a good day just for being placed in the hellfire for a thania, for a second. So this is the hope that makes an individual continue. That Allah Ta'ala said, number one, he's going to test everybody. And the most beloved people to him had the most severe test. Look at Ibrahim alayhi salam. هو وحيد فريد ما زوجته. And he's alone just with his wife. And he's being exiled from this country. And he flees with his wife to that country. And he's exiled from this country. And he flees from that country. And then he's kidnapped with his wife. And then this man is going to try to rape his wife. He's going to try to rape Sarah. And Ibrahim, because he's the only Muslim, not in the neighborhood, not in the city, not in that vicinity. At that point, he told Sarah, I don't know if any Muslim, tell him you're my sister. Because this heathen, anytime he likes a man's wife, Nimrod, he said anytime he likes a man's wife, he kills the man and takes his wife as captive. So you're going to have to tell them you're my sister so that they don't kill me. And indeed, you're my sister in Islam. She hates her because, wallahi, I don't know of any Muslim on the face of the earth other than me and you. And what they locked up Ibrahim in the room, and they didn't kill him because he's a brother in Islam, but they think he's a blood brother. And then they take her, and then every time Nimrud approached her, Allah Ta'ala made him paralyzed and fall on the ground. And then every time he promised, okay, I'm not going to come near you again. And he tried it again to the end of the story. But imagine being locked in a room, powerless, knowing that somebody's attempting, may Allah protect us from this. La ilaha illallah. And wallahi, we know, we don't see it, but we know what happens in war. So we know what may be happening to some of our sisters and our mothers right now in Palestine. And we know that some of our brothers are in a position where they can't defend them. Those brothers and sisters have to remember that Ibrahim Khalilullah, he went through this before. He went through this situation before. So, trials and tests happen to everybody. No religion is free from going through trials and tests. And that is Allah Ta'ala yukhrij ma'adinana. He's bringing out our, what do you call it, ma'adin, the best thing I can say is our reality. He's letting us to see who we really are. Are we just claiming, or are we really what we say we are? And that's what trials and tests do. And everybody goes through them. But we have hope in Allah. We know that this is not the final destination, that Jannah or An-Nar, the heavens or the hellfire, is the final destination. So, congratulations that Allah Ta'ala has placed the desire to become Muslim in your heart, Samaj. And I hope that you continue to read. And of course, we're going to be at the shop tomorrow. Come on down. I just wanted to give you some more information and know that all of these brothers here are your brothers, and there's plenty more of them. However, it doesn't mean you're going to get along and be friends with everyone if you come. Doesn't necessarily mean that. right? So that's not a guarantee. Doesn't mean that every one of us is going to treat you well. Not a guarantee. It's not. It doesn't mean every one of us is going to be there for you to count on us and be that brother that you never had, or that brother that you always wish you had. That's not a guarantee. The only thing we're guaranteeing you while we're calling you to Islam is that if you embrace Islam and worship Allah alone, you will not regret it when you're put in that grave. You'll understand that I made the right choice, because the choice you're making now is for your forever. The choice, people choose careers. That's all temporary. We all got to die. Trades and all of these things. People choose many things that are all temporary. The only thing that's permanent is what's going to happen after this life is over with. So you have to prepare for that now. And you prepare for that by embracing Islam with knowledge and sincerity and certainty and submission and compliance and al-muhabba and love for the shahada, wal-baghdha, and hate for that which opposes the shahada. So we love tawheed, we love monotheism, and we hate shirk, we hate polytheism. We hate it because it encroaches upon the right of Allah to be worshipped alone without any partners. So that's what I wanted to speak to you about. If anybody else has any advice they want to give to Samaj, he's here. So
Islam, the book of Islam, the Quran, is the only probably book that never changed. Nobody wrote. You read Bible, this Bible, this Bible, this Bible. It's been written through people. Quran is the only book that came from God, from Allah. Never been changed since day one. So it's the truth. And never been changed. Not even a letter.
yeah.
Not a list. I got on.
No, it's only
Never.
Mhm.
The way it came down to Prophet Muhammad, it was written, and it never changed at all. Nobody wrote it, nobody changed anything about it.
No.
Mhm.
Abu Rumaysa, you wanted to say something?
yeah, just some advice to them to keep asking questions. Ask the hard questions. Keep asking, because all the answers are here. Allah says He didn't leave anything from the tab. Everything is here. We have absolutely everything. SubhanAllah, it's amazing. Keep
Yeah.
asking questions. Keep asking questions that they get answered, and you answer with yaqeen, because SubhanAllah, it's all here. It's amazing.
My brother Abu Rumaysa came from a strict Christian family. The one that's speaking to you now, he comes from a strict. His parents are still really strict. It's still found Christianity, and he's giving them dawah. So yeah, he wasn't Muslim before either. I wasn't Muslim before. We have people, brothers here who were born in Islam. We have brothers here who were not born in Islam. Yeah. So, you're really going to see. Now,
If you see the oldest Bible ever found,
mhm,
Allah's meaning is.
that's another thing. Even the Christians in Egypt. I lived with the Christians in Egypt. The Christians in Egypt, they call God Allah. They don't say, they don't say, they don't call him, they say Allah. They're Arab Christians. The Christians in Lebanon say Allah. Christians in Morocco, they say Allah. They don't have an issue with it. The English language doesn't have a word for God. The word God is a Greek word. God, G-O-D, Gomorrah, Azdamba. Wisdom, might, and beauty. That's what it means. But English doesn't have a word for God. They got creator, higher power, but they don't have a word that means God in English. That is an actual English word. Yeah. No. Okay, so I'll stop here, and I hope that Allah Ta'ala moves your heart and keeps you firm, and I hope to see you tomorrow at the shop. And yeah. And so that's it.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, Abbad.
Naam. I had a question. What sort of were you quoting those ayahs from? About where Allah Subhanahu wa Taala talks about the people who are going through hard times, and the people who your enemy is also going through these hard times as well, and like that.
It's all over, but the particular the two ayat that I quoted, one is from Surah An-Nisa. إن تكونوا تعلمون. Yeah, and the exact ayat slips me right now, but إن تكونوا تعلمون فإنهم يعلمون كما تعلمون. Nah. وترجون من الله, that's النساء. And the other one is in Surah Ali Imran.
Ali Imran.
Um,
Yeah.
the one وإن يمسسكم قرح فقد مس القوم قرح مثله.
Naam. Yeah, that one caught me.
Yeah. And I
Naam.
think that's like I
I'll
forget.
find it. I'll find
No,
it. It'll help me read it, inshallah.
نعم إن شاء الله إن شاء الله. Also in Surah Al-Baqarah, أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يأتكم مثل الذين خلوا من قبلكم مستهم البأساء والضراء وزلزلوا. That's in Baqarah. And then in Ali Imran, Allah Ta'ala said, أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يعلم الله الذين جاهدوا منكم ويعلم الصابرين. Did you think you were going to enter Jannah without Allah Ta'ala knowing those who really fought in His cause from amongst you, and know those who were patient? وَلَقَدْ كُنْتُمْ تَمَنَّوْنَ الْمَوْتَ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ تَلْقَوْهُ, and you used to wish for death before you saw it. And like that until the end of the ayat in Surah Al Imran. And of course in Surah Ankabut, حسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون.
Naam.
Now, now and in Surah
Jazakum-
Al-Hajj also, Allah Ta'ala said, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ. And from mankind are those who worship Allah on the verge. If good befalls him, يطمئن به. And if ill befalls him, he turns on his heels. ينقلب على عقبيه خسر الدنيا والآخرة. He turns on his heels, he loses this life and hereafter. And that is the evident loss.
What surah was that you said?
That's Surah Al-Hajj.
Surah Al-Hajj. Naam.
No. That's in
Tamam.
the, like, that's like the 11th or 12th ayah. 10th, 11th, or 12th ayah.
Naam. Tamam. Jazakumullah khair.
Amadou, come close. Who, Muhammad? Okay. Say what you have to say. I mean, why yet? Huh? Okay. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow at the shop. No, thank you, Muhammad. No. Okay. Do you have you don't have a copy of the Quran, do you?
First time on there.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Okay, he has a copy of the Quran, so he's good. Okay, so everything else is between you and Allah. We're just tools or vessels that Allah uses. And dawah, brothers and sisters, dawah only has two results, one of two results. Either Allah Ta'ala guides an individual or individuals through you, or He establishes His proof against an individual through you. Wallahu a'la wa a'lam. Okay, so we'll stop here. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم, والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
عليك السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.